Okay, here we go. I'd like to call the meeting of the Princeton City Council to order. Clerk call roll.
Mayor Mabry.
Here.
Councilmember Newman.
Here.
Gomez.
Here.
McCall.
Here.
And Selesky.
Here.
Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to go ahead now and go to public comment. We have public comment at the beginning of the meeting as well as at the end. You're allowed to speak actually both times. If you'd like to speak to the council, feel free to come up to the microphone and just give your name. We'd like to ask you to limit it to 3 minutes if possible. That being said, is there anyone here for public comment tonight? Kind of a light crowd tonight. Okay, we'll go ahead now for the approval of minutes, please.
I move that we approve the minutes from our regular council meeting on November 17th, 2025.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any questions or comments about those minutes? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Selesky.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Thank you. Now we're on to the invoices with City Clerk Janet Henning.
In the Department of Accounts and Finances, we have $94,232.82. The Department of Streets and Public Improvements, $849,376.15. Department of Public Safety, $220,386.41. And the Department of Public Property and Utilities, $522,723.91, with a grand total of $1,686,719.29. Mayor, all council members present have confirmed the review of all invoices and are now submitted for disposition.
I move that we approve the invoices as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and second concerning those invoices. Is there any questions or comments from the council concerning them? Seeing none, clerk call roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Selesky.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Thank you. Now on to our ordinances, please.
Next on the agenda is ordinance O-25-016, amending the City of Princeton Land Development Code to allow by special use the locating of outdoor and indoor sports and recreation and outdoor and indoor spectator sports in an agricultural A-zoned district. This is the first reading.
I move that we advance ordinance O-25-016 to the second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this ordinance, that ordinance, and if we could, then Michael Zern's going to talk about that. Is that right, Teresa? Michael, if you would.
So we have some representatives here from the high school today. We're going to kind of speak to why this ordinance is in front of you. Basically, it is in response to a project that the high school is proposing, and the ground that it's on right now is an agricultural zone. So in order to at least find a path to make this work, we're presenting this ordinance, which would keep the zoning the same on the land, but allow for a different use via a special use. I know that's kind of a tongue twister, but really it would allow for a review by the Plan Commission and then further City Council of the special use, which would be a field house, 50,000 to 80,000 square foot is what we understand. And so this wouldn't, passing this ordinance wouldn't immediately allow that. It would still go to a special use, which requires a public hearing. So we thought that this was a fair way to go about it.
So we would go back to planning and zoning, Michael?
Well, so once the ordinance would be passed, they could apply for a special use permit for the indoor sports complex, and then they would present a site plan and request the special use. Letters would go out, a posting in the paper would be required, and then we would have the Plan Commission meeting, and then after the Plan Commission approved it, it would come to council finally. So there is still some layers to this,
sure.
But this is a path forward.
Council, any comments, questions?
What's the size of the land that we're talking about?
15 acres?
15 acres.
15 acres.
Michael, is that currently outside the city limits or inside?
Inside the city limits.
And just specifically for that land, could it just be rezoned totally without having to?
Well, it could be rezoned to residential because it's surrounded by residential, but then again, residential also doesn't allow these uses. So we just figured keep it the same zone, modify the zoning code, but still give it that special use hook where there would still be another process that would allow the public to provide any input.
So there has to be a transaction to sell the property to the school, or?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know if you guys want to speak on the project.
You already own it? Or?
We're in the process of purchasing it from Benucci Farms. We're in a purchase agreement with them. If it is not rezoned, there is a plan that they will purchase the land back if the variance is not approved and requested.
Right.
So it's basically contingent upon approval of.
Correct.
Not necessarily the rezoning, but the special permit.
Correct.
To know that you guys got to go through.
Correct. And that was all kind of presented to them when we went to speak with them about the land.
Well, that works out well, so
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's that undue pressure on the plan commission to pass it. You know, you wouldn't be out that money.
Anyone else want to make any comments?
Obviously, once it goes to the commission, you guys would have to approve it.
Correct.
And then if there's any objection to it, you guys also can deny it. Which if they were going to purchase it, and because they wouldn't have to purchase the Benucci Farms, will purchase the land back.
Correct.
How many residential lots border, do you know?
I don't know the answer to that.
That would be within like the 200-foot mailing.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess anywhere from like a dozen to 15.
Okay.
Maybe more.
Access to the property, there are, a city street is right there, or do we have to?
It does have 70 feet of frontage on Dover Road, so that would be the ingress and egress.
Okay.
Is this just for school use or public use too? What is the plan?
Yeah, so currently, I'm just reading from notes that Mr. Rulinski sent with us. The proposed facility is not intended to serve as a competition venue, but rather just provide additional practice space. And we intend to make the indoor facility accessible to the public too, offering a walking track, court space, and other amenities free of charge when not in use by the school or youth teams in the area. And we'll also have a portion of the new property that will be expanded to make available parking as well, and help support families during student drop-off and pickup, and provide improved parking for JFL, soccer, and softball events over at Little Siberia.
Will this be open to all sports?
Yes.
Like within school?
Correct, and we'll also open it up to youth teams. I know currently at Princeton High School we have other youth teams that come in and practice, and we'll be able to open that up as well. I know tonight with the weather was a concern. We're trying to fit 5 teams into 2 small gyms and trying to get everyone out before the weather's bad. This would provide that additional space and not have to allow for 6 a.m. practice in the morning and not being sure if we're going to put kids on the road or not. Trying to keep everybody safe and get them home as close to before dark as possible.
Is this being financed publicly, or property taxes, or what? Do we know?
At this time, we haven't completely made that decision how we're going to finance that.
Okay.
Questions? Any more questions, comments, concerns? I think it's a great project. I was making my thoughts about how strong schools make strong communities, and I think it's important that we support our high school and grade school, whatever we can do to help them.
Well, I have to start somewhere, and this is the first steps. Let's see where it goes.
Good point, Jerry. First step. Okay, with that all said, no additional questions or comments. We have a motion and second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman,
Aye.
Gomez,
Aye.
McCall,
Aye.
Gillespie,
Aye.
and Mayor Vickery.
Aye. Thank you, Michael, on that. We appreciate that. Let's see.
Stay up for the next
Yeah. And if you folks want to leave, feel free to. We're not, going to sneak out. It's up to you.
So it got passed to the second reading December 15th.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda is ordinance O-25-017, amending the city code of ordinances to establish regulations for ground-mounted solar arrays in residential districts. This is the first reading.
I move that we advance ordinance O-25-017 to the second reading.
Second.
Motion and second, and before we call the roll on that, let's go ahead and Michael give us an update on that, please.
Yeah, this is a response out of, we had a couple residents request for ground-mounted solar on their properties. And in reviewing the code for solar, it was a little vague, and really it could just follow the accessory use code that we have, which does allow for accessory use structures in the front yard. You'll see a garage that protrudes, past the front of the house. And we really thought that the ground-mounted solar wouldn't be a great addition in the front yard of a lot of our properties. So you'll see that in the ordinance. And I will just say that this is pretty much a duplicate of a neighboring town, Kiwani. So on Plan Commission, we have Ian Cardosi, who owns and operates a solar business, and he said he's found Kiwani's very reasonable from the private side of things. And so we kind of grabbed that ordinance, modified it a little bit to fit our needs. One thing I want to point out is this does not require fences around it, which we thought would enhance the aesthetics of these installations, because most of the time you get a 4-foot chain link fence around it, which just, we didn't think would look that great. So instead, Ian suggested that we do these like fabric coverings that fit really tight to the bottom of the panels that would enclose all the wires and conduits and things like that to make it more safe and not as accessible for, say, a child to grab those wires or things like that. So it's for aesthetics and as well as placement, size, things like that.
So they'd be secured inside this product that you're going to be talking about?
Correct. Yeah.
What's the reason you ground mounted over rooftop mount? Is it cheaper to do? Why they're asking?
Couldn't tell you why. Yeah, I don't know.
I've never seen anything in the city being ground mounted for residential. That's why I was asking.
I've seen one.
Have you? Yeah. Just seems like it would be a little ugly to me. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So this keeps it in the backyard. Has a height restriction, and then again, it doesn't require a fence.
Well, is the ordinance going to include how big of a footprint they can use in the back?
Yeah, so that would go off the accessory structure code, which we also have a ground coverage code, so this would include that. So I think in a lot of districts it's like 30% of your square footage of your lot you can cover. So if you have a big house, a big garage, then this would require that to be smaller array.
I understand everyone's right to have something like this if they own the property, but I'm more concerned with this ordinance with the neighboring properties. It looks like you've got a 5-foot setback and
Correct.
maximum of 12 foot.
Correct.
12 foot, that reaches the height of a low-pitch ranch-style house. It's really about the same height as that. And at 5 foot, it doesn't specify a degree of angle, and I don't know what kind of angle those are at, but if they're at a severe enough angle, that could be a glare for neighboring property. And at 5 foot, I mean, you hope, what they say, big fences make good neighbors.
Sure.
But if you have one of those that shows up at a property that, say, the neighbor has a patio, you pretty much shut the light off from their patio at 12 foot. 12 foot, that's off from ground to top mounted. Would you anticipate those would sit up on top of a frame? Or could they be angled at a 45 degree from the ground to 12 foot?
It's a good question. I would think most of them sit up about 2 or 3 feet off the ground, and then given the angle, they probably angle up to about, I would say maximum that 12 foot height. Again, I can't say that. Do you know how tall ours are out at Peggy Lane? I don't know if they're that tall.
They're probably minimum 12.
Yeah,
So,
they could be that.
depending on the location and where the sun comes from.
Yeah.
You have to go.
Mm-hmm. It's dependent actually on the sun, but is there anything that specifies if you face a neighbor's property, is it the back side or the front side?
They would always angle towards the south. They would always angle.
So you could have a property that actually has the panels facing towards you or away from you that you're looking at the back of the structure.
Correct.
And so he's proposing a screening that goes around it. It kind of camouflages.
Not a screening, no.
Not the panels, the back side.
It would be more of like a fabric covering that's made for this application that would allow all those wires and loose ends and things that you might see on the underside. They would be enclosed in this fabric covering.
So would that just be on the framing underneath, basically, or would it all the way
on the other side of the
So, Michael, during Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on this, they did discussion on this. Was it brought up about the concern that Don has about this reflection on the neighbor and things like that,
No, I don't think those things were discussed. I think a lot of the fencing was discussed pretty heavily. The location, the setback, things like that were discussed. The height was, I think everyone kind of accepted 12 feet. Because a lot of times, I mean, maybe you have bushes around it that are 4 feet high or so. You know, you might have to start that panel at 5 feet, and then keeping at that maximum of 12, I think they found to be fair. Otherwise, without this language, you know, it goes off the accessory structure, which says 15 feet. So there, you know, without any additional ordinance pertaining to ground mount solar, it's just going to follow the accessory code, like I said. So that would be, again, 5 feet off the line, 15 feet in height. Not sure there would be.
Are you saying with what's out there currently, this would be allowed and
Yep.
would actually bring it back?
Yep. We don't have anything that would.
What,
Is there a big push for
what
it?
current ordinance is this under?
Accessory structures.
But I mean, solar is actually in that, or are we just
There
generalizing that it's in that?
There is there's like 3 or 4 lines of like our actual solar. Most of it pertains to the rooftop and the solar interconnection agreement with the electric department.
So this is going to really nail it down to much more specifics.
It would give us something to go off of when these requests are made. Yeah.
But to Don's point, I mean, I'm a neighbor with an 8-foot fence. I could still see 4 feet of a solar panel
That's not something I'd want to see.
over the top.
That's ugly.
You know, and then you hate to think of this, but if you've got a neighbor that puts one of those there, you don't want to look at it, so you plant some tall hedge on your 5 feet, you know.
Right. You shade them all.
Yeah, that could happen too. I don't know. I see the 12-foot and I see the 5-foot setback being a little problematic from the neighboring homeowner.
I think a rewrite is totally open. I think planning commission would be open to feedback from council.
Is there a big demand?
I've had 2 requests in the past 6 months.
So no.
That's not a lot.
No, not at all.
I would probably get a right, and I think take into consideration the neighbors. And some of them could be that are working, get up really early in the morning, and then the reflections of lights or anything else can interfere with them. I don't know.
Well, I think if you've got, you know, close to an acre size lot, it would be more admissible than somebody that is at the point of covering 80 to 90% of coverage of their lot.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to do that anyway by the current code.
No. No.
Under current code, can we deny that?
I don't believe I would have any latitude to deny something like this for the code.
Yeah.
How about a suggestion here to the council? We appreciate the planning and zoning, what they do. They come to us with recommendations. Why don't we do a little homework on our part and go over to Kewanee and go to some of these neighboring communities and go look at this and see how this looks and get a better feel for it. I'm the kind of guy, I got to go look at something like that and say, okay, is this permissible or is this, oh boy, that 12-foot right there, 5 feet from the line, I don't want to live next to that. So if you want to review, I think we just go ahead and put this on hold. I know we have a motion in a second, but what do you think, Jerry? Put it on hold for a couple weeks?
We can table it for a meeting or 2.
Yeah,
I think we can do it to get it right.
Planning commission meets next Tuesday. I would happily put it as another agenda item and have open discussion between the council and the commission.
I would also suggest that those 2 people, 1 or 2 people that are interested in it, to get some pictures of their own from some of these other installations to show us this is an okay thing to do.
Sure.
No, I'll definitely go take a drive.
No, but I think let's put a little onus on them to say, tell us why this is a good deal.
Yeah, maybe touch base with Ian Cardosi. If anyone needs his contact, I'm sure he'd walk you through it.
Okay, so we have motion second. Teresa, how do we get out of that one? How do we back out of that one?
I make another motion, don't I?
Yeah.
I move that we table ordinance O-25-01, let's see where we are here, 7, until further notice.
Second.
Motion second. Any further questions or comments? Otherwise, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
And Selesky.
Aye.
And Mayor Vickery.
Aye. Thank you, council, for that input. Appreciate that.
All right, next on the agenda, we have ordinance O-25-018, levying of taxes for corporate purposes for the fiscal year commencing on the first day of May 2026 and ending on the 30th day of April 2027 for the city of Princeton, Bureau County, Illinois. This is the first reading.
I move that we advance ordinance O-25-018 to the second reading.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions or comments? We'll go to Teresa, please.
Yes, in your packet you have the breakdown of the levy. I believe I gave you a summary of this in one of of the updates. The basics of it are we're keeping the rate the same as last year's. This allows us with the police and fire pensions to fund those at the 100% of what the actuarial is suggesting. So we're not cutting back on any of that, and we don't want to. We want to keep that going as much as we can. The big note is that the library, because we actually levy for their portion in the taxes, so their bond that they've been making a payment has been about $150,000 each year. We made that final payment December 1st. Or not quite, but it's due December 1st today. December 1st is their final payment on that bond, so that will be retired, which means we do not need to levy for that anymore. It kind of gives a little bit of a cushion. So the library picked up some extra expenditures in some of their categories, but then did leave a little bit less that needed to be levied, so it kind of balanced out. I appreciate that they did that. Any questions on it?
Could the library ever split off on their own and do their own levy?
They could. However,
wouldn't we like that? Or?
However,
okay.
I could go into further detail, but it does help control the level of the rate.
Oh.
If you go over, I think it's the 5% truth and taxation kicks in. We, as a municipality, having them under us, we kind of control that.
Right.
I'll say that bubble.
Yes, I see.
I don't like to say that necessarily, but it just kind of keeps everything in check.
Okay.
I mean, that as a separate taxing body, they could
do whatever they want.
Yeah, so it does kind of keep things in check. So.
You're the expert. I believe.
I would like to avoid truth and taxation hearings.
All right, well, sure. Yeah.
Not to say that we don't ever have to go that route. I mean, at some point, costs are going to, if things go up. The nice thing about it, I do like to be able to tell people when they say, well, Princeton taxes are so high. I'm like, well, we haven't raised our tax rate.
Mm-hmm. So
the EAV does go up, which means that you are receiving more in tax when you do the levy, but your actual rate isn't changing. So our EAV did go up about, what I told you guys, 9%, I believe it was. So healthy, just still good.
Okay, very good. Any additional questions, concerns, comments? Otherwise, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Selewski.
Aye.
And Mayor McBride.
Aye. Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have Resolution R-25-030, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a professional service agreement.
I move that we approve Resolution R-25-030.
Second.
Motion second. Teresa, if you would, please.
Sorry, I got backed up. I got backed up there. I was going to last word. But in your packet, Michael will come up. In your packet is the summary from Jacob & Klein. And this is for helping put together our business development district and the costs associated with it. But Michael, if you want to.
Yeah, so part of the BDD would be the legal administration of those funds. Jacob & Klein they run TIF Illinois, which is a law firm that does these sorts of dealings with the IDOR to make sure any expenditure and the revenue being generated is being distributed in a lawful manner. I will say that their expenditure is a reimbursable expenditure. So once it's established, once those funds come in, we can reimburse ourselves and then continue on their partnership for a much smaller fee than the startup fee, which keeps them in our corner and helping us ensure that these funds are being distributed lawfully, like I said, whether that be grants, redevelopment agreements, diminishing loans, things of that nature.
And Michael, you did your research, due diligence on these folks, and this was recommended to you?
Hometown Consulting recommends them strongly. There's not a ton of firms. I did mention, we work with Miller Hall and Triggs. Maybe they could do it. Cole said, really this is their bread and butter. This is what they do. If we asked Miller Hall to pick it up, they'd probably be doing a lot more billable hours with the research and things necessary.
We met with them, 3-4 months ago?
Hometown Consulting?
Or no, with Jake McCline.
That's right, Jake McCline.
Yeah, we met with them.
Yep.
And I think it's the right place to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Any further comments, questions? Good with that, Michael? Michael, thank you for your comments. Now, clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Gillespie.
Aye.
And Mayor Reese.
Aye. Thank you. Now we're on to our city manager report.
I don't have anything, but I'll speak down under the e-bikes, so.
Okay, you're all right, great. Kate, thank you. I'm going to make a quick mayor's report, and I'll go down to the podium. I haven't done that for a while. And, okay, before we get started with our guests this evening, I wanted to say to the council and to the people listening on whatever radio station that we have with us and our audience. We've got a lot of great compliments about the snow removal this past 3 to 4 days. The street department did a great job. They had their A game going. They've got some new employees out there. They were all working. But as mayor, it was just so delightful. People came up to me and said, man, I just really appreciate how great the snow removal was. And then when they got caught up with the streets, they went downtown, the north end, the south end, worked to tidy up our business district. So those merchants that lost out on Saturday because of the excessive snow, they had Sunday to bring clients and customers in for shopping. So good job to our street departments for the snow removal. Appreciate that. With that said, another positive note, we've had Festival 56 come in the past and speak, and I'm the kind of guy that I don't sit down too often for more than an hour at a time, and I got to get antsy in my hands on this stuff, but I've enjoyed going the past couple of years, and the ladies have challenged me. They said, Ray, you need to come sit down and enjoy a theater experience. And I really have enjoyed that this past 2 years. And so we're going to have you come up tonight and just tell us about how things are going with Festival 56 and what your plans are for next year. Okay? So come on to the microphone, if you don't mind, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us the privilege to speak to you tonight. My name is Tracy McCransky, and I'm on the board of directors for Festival 56. Festival 56 is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization, theater that brings located here in our community. Our mission is to bring high-quality theatrical productions to our local audience, foster artistic talent, and strengthen community engagement through performance, education, and outreach. For almost 25 years, we've produced stage plays, musicals, and free Shakespeare in the Park. We believe our work plays a vital role in the cultural life and economic vitality of our town by attracting audiences, supporting restaurants, hotels, and shopping.
And I'm Maureen Dressler. I'm the executive director of Festival 56. And this past summer, we collected a lot of very valuable information from surveys that we included in tourism bags that Victoria Yuxon provided to us. So we really appreciate her efforts in getting these bags to us, and we had a nice relationship working with her this summer. They were filled, as she filled them, with lots of brochures and other tourism information, and we gave them out to all of our guests, not the company members, but we've noticed over the years that so many parents now come and friends come to see the shows and to see their family members acting, and even the ones that work behind the scenes. So they all took these bags, and it had a survey in there, and they filled them out and brought it back to us. And they told us where they were staying, which hotels, which Airbnbs, which, as everybody knows, has gotten a lot more popular, and which restaurants they ate at, which are, all the ones in town, and which stores downtown they frequented, including Beats Me, the record store, Alpaca Shop, Little Blue Dress, Wild Honey, Eclectic Joy, Fresh Finds. And they all enjoy their shopping experiences, and we've had some of the store owners say how, that they enjoy talking to the people as they came in. We had the friends and family come from across the country this year, Rhode Island, New York, Chicago, other places, Chicago, Missouri, Texas, Michigan, California, and Florida. So so a great mix of people who came. And we're very grateful for the money that tourism provided to us over the years as a grant that we've been able to receive for many years. We realize the amount has declined, but we also understand that there are many organizations who are very worthy, and so those funds are essential to them.
So currently, we're in a critical financial need. The maintenance on the building is unforgiving. We took care of some much needed tuck pointing, and we've taken care of some water issues around the foundation of the building. We need major roof repairs. We did have a roof replaced about 15 years ago. By getting a new roof, it would help alleviate some of our water issues. We're struggling with all the leaks right now at the edges and where the pipes are coming through the roof and the vents. We patched it in some different areas, but it really suffered through some heavy rainstorms this past summer. And we recently discovered a concrete issue in the floor that may need some expert evaluation, and we're investigating how to adjust our front entrance ramp so that the patrons with the canes and the wheelchairs and walkers can get into the building more easily. We did complete a full ADA study, which resulted in an analysis to make some changes to the building. Some of our long-term goals include changing the seating configuration to, have better lines, sight lines, and eliminate some steps and replacing them with ramps. We also plan to add a utility area backstage for a paint sink. Where it's currently located is not real great. It's kind of through the lobby, and it's just kind of a distraction. But also, Maureen and I were involved at, after, in the early years of festival, then we were away from it a little bit and then worked back in there. But we know that we did receive greater tourism funds when we, used to be on the board and involved many years ago. So they have declined. So, we're also facing a shortfall in grants due to federal fundings with the arts. We've experienced a 25% decrease in national grant funding this year, and we expect continued major decreases going forward. Community organizations, our local community organizations are still providing funds, which we're very thankful for those grants.
And as we look at our budget going forward, and we're just ending up this year, we're on the calendar year, what our typical measure of how we figure out our budget and where our income comes from is we count on grants for being about a third of our budget, fundraising a third, and ticket sales a third. And I know that always surprises people because they think we make all our money on ticket sales, but we don't. That's only a third. We do have every year, we have two major appeals for funders and fundraising. We have a summer appeal and a winter appeal that we're just getting ready to launch. The winter appeal to ask our donor base to contribute. But we are observing a shortfall in this year, 2025. And, possibly is it due to donor fatigue? We don't know. Are there other organizations like churches and youth centers who are asking for larger amounts of funding this year? We just, we don't know what's going on. We attempted this past summer to target everyone who walks through the door by placing a donation card, like many churches have, in their playbill, so they have an opportunity to, on the spot, write out a check and drop it in a box that's in our lobby. And we did receive funds that way, but it was not an overall success. So we'll continue trying that, because that on the spot it's a good reminder to people, and sometimes you just need that reminder. And our website is all set up for taking donations very easily.
So in closing, we'd like to say that our ticket sales were up this year to about 4,000, but our donations and grants were down considerably. So at this time, we'd like to reach out to the city and to see about seeking some possible financial support to help us realize our upcoming season and strengthen our operations. Along with our general operations, to ensure the theater remains stable and available to serve the community. We have production costs, marketing outreach to broaden our audience base, and expenses to provide educational programs such as Camp 56 for the kids. But with the city's support, we could estimate an increase of about 10% in local audience attendance, resulting in more visitor spending at local businesses. The educational component will reach more students across our local counties. By sustaining the professional theater in our community, we can help anchor a creative corridor, enhance community pride, and retain talented individuals who otherwise might leave for metropolitan areas. And the audiences are, basically here, they're seeing the same actors that you're going to see in larger cities for half the price. We're committed to transparency and accountability. Should funds be provided to us, we would give the city a detailed budget, quarterly progress updates, and an impact report at the end of the season. With your support, we can increase our impact and make theater accessible to more of our fellow citizens. And we'd just like to thank you for considering our request, and we welcome the opportunity to meet with you to further discuss our plans and explore how the city and our theater can work together to strengthen our community's culture. So, thank you.
Thank you. Great. Before you sit down, is there any questions from the council?
Have you submitted any details on paper to either Victoria or Teresa on what kind of funds you're looking for? What do you think you need?
Not at this time we haven't. This is our first step.
Okay. But I would think that would be a good second step, maybe, to kind of
That's
noodle
exactly
together.
the information we're looking for.
But I know our tourism dollars is what's funding things like this, which is a great thing. The pillow tax and we've worked hard to get our Airbnb operators. Man, there's been some from day one that have done a tremendous job paying that in. So I'm not here to beat up those nice folks that started from day one. But I think we're about 80% now compliance with our B&B folks. So, because if you're not staying in a hotel, you're staying in a B&B, and at our 5% pillow tax, obviously that
should be taxed.
Yes, absolutely. Can I ask that shows my interest? What were you last year? What were you given from tourism dollar-wise?
It was about $3,400, isn't that?
$3,400,
and then we've had up to $6,000 or $7,000 in the past.
Very good. That educates us. We need to kind of get a sense of what's going on.
Yeah, I would add that there's been more requests from more organizations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's Jerry.
And maybe a new criteria or something might be appropriate to kind of weed out those that are more important than others or something.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And those folks from Rhode Island, I think I told the council one morning I was watering flowers and they were coming out of Knox Hotel. As a whole group, about 3 generations coming, and they've been there for like 3 days visiting Princeton. So we appreciate the update, Tracy and Maureen. And I told my wife, Lisa Stefani, I said, we're going to have Festival 56 at our meeting tonight. And right away, my wife wanted to make sure that she gave a contribution. So this is from Lisa.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And I would just say again, I know that I went to my first professional baseball game last year. Believe it or not, I'm like a confession. I had my first beer at the Barrel Society, and I had my first. I went to see the Cubs, and I loved that. In other words, yeah, I know. Teresa's laughing at this. True story. Wait till you see my tattoo. No, that's not. But I would just encourage the council. So for years now, I've gone to 2 events each year. I really have enjoyed them. And I just appreciate all the volunteers that are there, from the ushers, the ticket takers, the people behind the bar that are serving some refreshments. So I know there's a lot of volunteers in the whole thing. So I would just encourage the council, you got to get to one of these and sit down and enjoy it. And then all of a sudden, you get the feel of what's going on. So again, I'm the latest guy to the party. You know what I'm saying? I took my Uber cab and I got lost. So anyway, just want to say thank you very much. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you all very much. And please don't ever hesitate. You can probably get in touch with us if you do have any questions.
Sure.
Good. Nice to see you. Okay, we'll go on now, if you could, to, is there any old business, and Teresa, we're going to talk about e-bikes, right?
Just real quickly, we can keep this kind of moving on with keeping this on the agenda. You have 2 copies. One is shorter one is Downers Grove. The second one is St. Charles. It's a little bit thicker. I believe what it was is they took the edits and they added it into their existing ordinance, so it does look a little bit longer. Tom does have one for Naperville that I will also send to you this week. But this is just for you to kind of get a feel for what some of these are looking like. We did get a message back from the village of Brighton. I do not know where that's at. Brighton. And they all they said is that they're actually following the state statute, which is probably common for some of the municipalities our size. Falls back to the state statute. It's probably an easier way of clean cut. This is what we're going to do. Tom, we talked a little bit about it. The shorter one, which is Downers Grove, is probably a little bit more concise, but what might work a little bit better for us. But I want you guys just to look them over, get a sense for what these communities are looking at, and where we can go from there. I'll keep talking with Tom on his thoughts with this too. So,
Tom, do you feel that the state statute kind of covers it, we just haven't been enforcing it good enough, or do you feel on your side that we need a little extra language?
Well, I think under the city ordinance, we can adjudicate it here.
Gotcha.
It's a little more complicated through the state's attorney's office. I mean, we could certainly weigh both options, but the one that Downers Grove gave us, that's on one page. Something that's concise, that's easy to enforce, would make it a lot easier to do.
Well, and you brought up a really good point there is not very many communities have adjudication within their, and that's one of the benefits we have. So you're not having to. That's a really good point. So,
Tom, are we trying to solve a problem here?
Yeah, we're seeing more and more of the traffic with these things. Kids riding them. Most of these ordinances don't allow anyone under the age of 18 to operate these vehicles, and we can hold the parents responsible for that. We could address that under our ordinance.
Okay. Does that include like the scooters, the motorized little scooters and stuff like that?
Okay, so we're going to review that. What do we think about the age 18 versus 16 or something like that? Is 18, holy smokes. So anybody under 18, Tom, is the legal to run these?
Correct.
Wow.
That's going to probably upset a few folks in town, but it's for their own good.
Yeah. Okay.
Not ours.
Okay. No, I understand. All right. Any additional comments about this from the council? Do a little investigative work and chew on this a little bit. Simple. We like simple, right? One page. You know, we have ordinances on the books that we don't enforce, and I don't mean to talk about ordinances for on the police side of things, but we just have a lot of ordinances, but it's a matter of enforcing them. So keeping it simple just makes it so much easier, I think. So, okay, any additional old business? Teresa, thank you for that, and Tom, thank you for that too. And I appreciate that. Any additional? Okay, and now we're on to any new business. No new business? Any additional public comment? None? Okay.
You ready?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I move that we adjourn our regular council meeting and reconvene for our next city council meeting on Monday, December 15th, 2025, 6 p.m. at City Hall.
Second.
Motion second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Gillespie.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Thank you for attending, and feel free to stay and talk to your council members. I'll get the lights off together.